We often don't value ourselves because of where we are in life. We might not have the money, the fame, the resources to do what we want in life. We might not have been able to reach that goal at one point. You might have failed many times. You might have gave up. You might have seen yourself as a failure. But just because things are difficult, or you're not there yet, you're following a goal, a dream, or you're trying to improve yourself, and things might not be working. We put ourselves down and tell ourselves that we're no good, that we can't be any better. And a lot of times by telling yourself this, it makes you actually believe it, to the point that you give up on doing anything. You stop in life. You stop moving forward, trying to improve, to be better, to help yourself, to help others, to do anything positive. Just because you aren't there yet doesn't mean that you should undervalue who you are by putting yourself down, telling yourself that I'm not good enough, I don't have the talent, I don't have the skills to do this, everybody's better than me, they're going to make fun of me, they're going to judge me and who I am, they're going to tell me it's impossible or that it can't be done, that other people have already done it before, or that who do you think you are to think that you can do it when there's all these other people out there that are skilled, more talented, they could be faster than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, that might be able to sing better, to draw better, to play an instrument better. But just because someone might be more skilled at something that you enjoy doing as well, that doesn't mean that there's no point in doing it. If that was the case, then you'd only have one person playing an instrument, only one poet, only one artist, only one person playing a guitar or singing. Just because someone might be the most famous doesn't mean that everybody else shouldn't try, or that everybody else should quit. Because fame, money, it all doesn't last forever. Things change in life. And by undervaluing yourself in the current position that you are in, you prevent yourself from ever moving up or improving. And when I was younger, and even not too long ago, I often undervalued myself and told myself that I couldn't do something just because other people were so much better, because I had a difficult life. I was poor. My family didn't have much money at all. We often moved to different places. I had trouble getting along with my family. I had some people in my family that were very abusive to me, and school was difficult. I always got bullied and picked on and made fun of because I was poor. I never had that good of clothes. I had trouble trying to socialize with people. I didn't think that I was going to be much of anything at that point because I felt that I had nothing really. I felt that I had nothing much to look forward to, because to me, for a good portion of my life, I just felt that this is how life is for everybody, isn't it? This is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to grow up poor without any friends, people that bully you, and having people that hate you every day and abuse you all the time. I thought that was normal life. I didn't know any different. And then as I got older, I noticed that something wasn't right. I seemed different than everybody else. Why was everybody else coming to school with nice clothes? They looked well fed, happy. They didn't have bruises and marks all over them all the time. And that's when I realized that something wasn't right. And then I started undervaluing myself even more when I realized that. I thought, am I going to be able to escape this? Is anything going to improve? Am I going to be any better? Is anybody even going to care what I have to say? I'm just one person. It's a waste of my time. I don't have the skills. I don't have the talent. I'm not smart enough. And I started undervaluing myself and telling myself that I couldn't do it because I had a hard time learning. My memory wasn't that great. I had a hard time learning and retaining new information in school. My grades started doing bad. And as my grades kept getting worse, I started getting made fun of, told I was a failure. The teachers would get frustrated with me, and sometimes they would even tell me to go to the principal's office, and they thought that I was pretending or that I was just making things difficult. But I had a hard time learning and trying to remember things because for my whole life at that point, I was abused verbally and physically. I had people hitting me in the head every day, just about. And I didn't think that anything would get any better. I felt like I had nothing to lose and nothing much to gain. And at that point, it got to where I wasn't afraid of anything else that could really hurt me, or anything that was going to be a failure, or anything that I was going to fail at in life. That when I got older, I started pushing myself because I was used to having so much pain all the time, mentally and physically. And so I was able to use that to try to push myself to be better, to do more. And in school, I was always really good at doing physical activities, such as sports, lifting, sprinting. I never had the grades to do any sports, to join anything, to play in football or baseball or any of that. I did have some interest in playing football, but as I said, my grades were very bad. The coaches wanted me to play. They liked that I had a really hard work ethic and that I didn't see myself as someone that just wanted to be better than everybody because of ego, or that I wanted to be better than everybody because I felt that I deserved more. I would push myself to try to set an example and then try to help other people and lead by that example. And I just used all the things that hurt me, all the stuff that bothered me, to do sprinting and lifting or other athletics. Those are the two main ones I did. I tried to do cross country, distance running in 9th grade, and the coach wanted me to join the team to do some running with him, and I would go to practice. And the problem was that whenever it was time to go to the cross country meets, I couldn't go to them because we had to either drive to this location, or we had to bring money with us to pay for some of the cost of going there. But I was really poor. I didn't have the money to do that. A lot of times I didn't even have the money to pack a lunch for something to eat to take with me. And there were many times to where I would do distance running and I hadn't even ate in several days. And it's kind of hard to run when you have no energy. But I turned it into a mental thing rather than physical. I just would zone out and keep running. But I found value in that, and I started actually valuing who I was. And I had already been drawing most of my life at this point. And now for me, I've always used drawing as something to escape to like think about the things that have been difficult, to move forward and to improve myself and push myself to do better. But at the time, I'd always use drawing to escape from things, it seemed like. But it wasn't that I was doing it because I didn't have, I wasn't doing it because I had all these other things that I could do that were, options. I didn't really have many options. It was either go and draw and just live in my own world in my head, or deal with the extreme abuse and stress, emotionally and physically, by the people around me. And as I was saying, as far as cross country goes at this point, I started valuing myself a little bit more, but not in a way that was egotistical. I just actually started valuing who I was. But then I wasn't able to go to the meets because of my grades. It didn't really matter what my times were. My time that I had for cross country, for the mile, I was beating the school record consistently and consistently improving on it. But they couldn't count the time because of my grades. But I still kept doing it because it was something that I could push myself at, that I could use the problems and the things that bothered me and put it into that to be better. And just the physical activity of it, and help me get my mind off of all the stressful things. But oddly enough, I actually use it to think about those things and all the things that bothered me, and just put all that into running. And that's when I started valuing myself a little bit more. I got more into lifting, powerlifting, and then as I went to high school, it was the same thing. Or later on in high school, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, my senior year, I didn't have the grades to do any of the sports, but I still did it. Or I would go to what they call two-a-days, or training with the football teams. I competed in some of the high school's powerlifting meets, and I just did it because I just enjoyed it. And even though I didn't have the grades to join a team or to have any records I set be considered, it was a record that I set for myself. It was a personal goal, a personal record, and it was me against me. It wasn't me against a team or me against other people. I'd never really cared for competing against other people because growing up I didn't have anything really. I didn't see a point in trying to compare myself to other people or trying to compete with everyone else, because I could only be as good as I could possibly be with what I was given. And I knew that if I tried to compete with other people that had all these things handed to them, to try to be the smartest, that then I would start devaluing myself because I was trying to compete against them. And it would make it to where I started judging myself and worrying about if I was good enough. I wanted to just compete against myself to be as good as I can be, so that I didn't have to deal with all that. It wasn't that I couldn't deal with it. It's just that I didn't want to, because I didn't see the point in trying to compare myself to other people when we're all so different. We all have different skills and different talents. You might have somebody that's a really good sprinter and someone else that doesn't have a talent or a skill for that, and they have absolutely no interest in it, but yet they might be skilled at something else. Just because you're not good at one thing doesn't mean you can't be good at something else. Because the things that I wasn't really good at, I used the bad things in my life and all the psychological and physical suffering that I went through, and I put all that into it to be better, but not to compete against other people, trying to be better than everybody else. I just wanted to do it for myself, to be as good as I could be, so that I could look back on it and actually value myself and value who I am, rather than always putting myself down and saying that I'm a failure. Because if you just keep telling yourself that you're a failure, that you're no good, and you worry about comparing yourself to everybody else, I find that that really slows you down in life. You gotta start valuing yourself. You need to value who you are. Be happy with what you have. And realize, looking back on your life, that you need to stop worrying about all the things that you don't have and start being happy and appreciative for the life that you do have. Because when I was growing up, I had almost nothing really. I didn't really have much of anything to look forward to or to live for. So I had to find it within myself and value myself to be happy.